Kim Tae-ho walked through the massive halls of the Galactic Council building. His footsteps echoed on the smooth crystal floor. The walls around him showed pictures of hundreds of alien worlds. Each picture reminded him that humans were still the newest members of this great galactic family. But today, something felt different. The other ambassadors looked at him with cold eyes. Some turned away when he tried to say hello. Others whispered behind his back in languages he could not understand. Tae-ho had been Earth's ambassador for 5 years now. He knew the signs of trouble. Today would not be a good day for humanity. The main council chamber was huge. It could hold representatives from over 200 different species. Tall beings with blue skin sat next to small creatures covered in fur. Some aliens floated in special tanks filled with purple gas. Others needed machines to help them breathe. In the center of it all sat Chancellor Mordex. The Veltran leader was almost 3 meters tall. His gray skin looked like old leather. His 4 eyes could look in different directions at the same time. When he spoke, his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "The council will come to order," Mordex announced. His voice filled the entire chamber without any help from machines. "Today we discuss the human problem." Tae-ho felt his heart skip a beat. Problem? What problem? He had not been told about any issues with Earth or human colonies. "For too long," Mordex continued, "we have watched the humans spread across our galaxy like a disease. They take planets without asking. They build cities without permission. They act like they own space itself." Other alien leaders nodded their heads or made sounds of agreement. A being that looked like a giant insect clicked, its claws together. A creature made of living water bubbled with anger. Tae-ho stood up from his seat. "Chancellor Mordex, I must speak. Humans have followed all galactic laws. We have taken only empty planets. We have asked permission for everything we do." Mordex turned all 4 of his eyes toward Tae-ho. "Ah, the human speaks. Tell me, Ambassador, how many worlds do your people now claim?" 47 colonies, as you well know. All approved by this council. 47 worlds in less than 100 years. Do you not see the problem? Tae-ho shook his head. "We are a growing species. We need room for our people. Every world we have taken was empty of intelligent life." A new voice spoke up. It belonged to Ambassador Cathara, a being that looked like a walking tree. "Empty of life that you recognize human. Your people see only what they want to see." "That is not true," Tae-ho said. "We scan every world carefully. We check for any signs of intelligent beings. We would never harm another species." Mordex laughed. The sound was like breaking glass. "Harm another species? Human, your very existence harms us all. You breed too fast. You build too much. You take too much." Around the chamber, other aliens made sounds of agreement. Tae-ho felt like he was standing alone against the entire galaxy. "What are you saying?" Tae-ho asked, though he feared he already knew the answer. "We are saying that humanity must be controlled," Mordex replied. "Your species has shown that it cannot be trusted with freedom. You are like children playing with fire." On Earth, Commander Lee Da-eun sat in her office reading reports. She commanded the human defense fleet from a base hidden in the asteroid belt. The reports on her desk made her worry. 3 human colonies had stopped sending messages. Kepler 438b had gone silent 2 weeks ago. Gliese 667c had not answered calls for 10 days. Wolf 1061c had sent no signals for a full week. Dae-yoon picked up her communication device. "Get me Captain Park Jin-woo on the new Sol." The screen in front of her lit up. Park Jin-woo appeared. He was a young man with kind eyes and a serious face. "Commander Dae-yoon, what can I do for you?" "Jin-woo, I need you to check on our lost colonies. Something is wrong. 3 worlds have gone quiet." "I understand. The new Sol can reach Kepler 438b in 2 days. Be careful," Da-eun warned. "I have a bad feeling about this." Park Jin-woo ended the call and turned to his crew. The new Sol was not a military ship. It was built for exploration and research, but it had enough weapons to defend itself if needed. "Set course for Kepler 438b, Jin-woo told his pilot. "Maximum speed." The ship jumped into hyperspace. Through the windows, stars became lines of light as they traveled faster than light itself. 2 days later, the new Soul dropped out of hyperspace near Kepler 438b. What they found made Jinwoo's blood run cold. The human colony was still there, but so were alien ships, dozens of them. They were not human designs. Jinwoo recognized them as Zephyrian vessels. The Zephyrians were one of the oldest races in the galaxy. They had blue-green skin and claimed to be great peacekeepers. "Captain," called his communications officer, "I am receiving a signal from the planet." "Put it through." A Zephyrian face appeared on the screen. Its skin was the color of the ocean. Its eyes were large and completely black. "Human vessel, you are in Zephyrian space. Leave at once." "This is Captain Park Jinwoo of the Earth vessel New Soul. Kepler 438b is a human colony. We have legal claim to this world." The Zephyrian made a sound like water bubbling. "Not anymore. Human. This world now belongs to the Zephyrian Republic. Your people have been relocated." "Relocated? Where?" "That is not your concern. Leave now or be destroyed." Jinwoo cut the communication. He turned to his crew. "Scan the planet. Find our people." The scan results appeared on the main screen. The human city was gone. In its place was a Zephyrian settlement. There were no human life signs anywhere on the planet. "Captain," his science officer reported, "I am detecting debris in orbit. It looks like parts of human buildings and equipment." Jinwoo felt sick. The Zephyrians had not just taken the colony. They had erased it completely. 40,000 humans had lived on Kepler 438b. Now they were gone. "Take us out of here," Jinwoo ordered. "We need to report this to Earth." Back on Earth, Commander Da-un listened to Jinwoo's report with growing anger. The Zephyrians had taken a human world. They had made 40,000 people disappear, and they acted like they had every right to do it. Da-un called Admiral Choi, Su Min. The Admiral was the highest military commander in human space. She was a small woman with gray hair and steel in her eyes. "Admiral, we have a problem," Da-un said. She explained what had happened at Kepler 438b. Admiral Choi listened without speaking. When Da-un finished, the Admiral was quiet for a long moment. "This is not the first incident," the Admiral finally said. "I have reports of alien activity near other human colonies, too. Someone is testing us." "What do we do?" "For now, nothing. We watch. We wait. We gather information." The Admiral paused. "And we prepare for what comes next." At the Galactic Council, Ambassador Taeho was still arguing with Chancellor Mordex. The argument had been going on for hours. "You cannot just take away human rights," Taeho said. "We are members of this council. We have followed all the rules." "Rules change, human," Mordex replied. "The galaxy has grown tired of your species. You take too much and give too little. We give plenty. Human technology has helped many worlds. Human doctors have saved millions of alien lives. Human farmers have fed hungry populations. Small gifts to hide your true nature," said Ambassador Kethara. "You are a violent species. Your history is full of wars and death." "Every species has a violent past," Taeho protested. "Even the Veltrons fought great wars before joining the galaxy." Mordex's 4 eyes narrowed. "We learned from our mistakes. Humans have not. You still fight among yourselves. You still build weapons. You still think like primitives." Around the chamber, other aliens nodded. Taeho realized that this was not just Mordex's idea. Many species had agreed to this before today's meeting. "What do you want from us?" Taeho asked. "Simple," Mordex said. "Humanity will give up its independence. Earth will become a protectorate under galactic control. Human colonies will be managed by other species. Humans will be allowed to live, but not to rule. You want to make us slaves. We want to make you safe. Safe for yourselves and safe for the galaxy." Taeho felt the weight of an entire species on his shoulders. If he agreed to this, humanity would lose everything they had worked for. If he refused, what would happen? "I need time to discuss this with my government," Taeho said. "You have 72 standard hours," Mordex announced. "After that, the decision will be made for you." The meaning was clear. Submit or be forced to submit. Taeho left the council chamber with fear in his heart. He had to warn Earth. Humanity was about to face its greatest test. The question was, would they be ready for what was coming? As he walked through the crystal halls, Taeho did not notice the alien eyes watching him. He did not see the small devices recording his every move. The galaxy was already treating humans like prisoners. The countdown had begun. Admiral Choi Soo-min sat in the secret meeting room deep beneath the Earth's surface. The room was hidden under kilometers of rock and metal. No alien technology could detect what happened here. Around the table sat the most important people in human space. President Martinez looked tired. The leader of Earth had been awake for 36 hours since Ambassador Taeho's message arrived. Admiral, tell me we have options. Admiral Choi stood up. She was a small woman, but when she spoke, everyone listened. We do have options, Mr. President, but first, you need to know the truth about what we have been building. She pressed a button on the table. The lights dimmed. A holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It showed a massive spaceship unlike anything the others had ever seen. This is the eternal moment, Admiral Choi said. It is a Titan class, Dreadnought. The aliens think we can only build small ships. They are wrong. General Roberts, head of Earth's armies, stared at the image. How big is it? 15 kilometers long, 3 kilometers wide, 2 kilometers tall. It masses more than our entire fleet combined. President Martinez shook his head. How did we keep this secret? Something that big should be impossible to hide. We built it in the dark space between stars, Admiral Choi explained. Far from any planet or space lane, the construction took 20 years. Only a few hundred people know it exists. Dr. Yang Hye-jin, Earth's top scientist, stepped forward. She was young for such an important job, but her mind was brilliant. The size is not the most important thing, she said. It is what the ship can do that matters. Yang pressed another button. The hologram changed. Now it showed strange energy, patterns flowing around the ship. The patterns looked like they were bending space itself. During our early experiments with faster-than-light travel, we discovered something amazing, Yang continued. We could manipulate time itself, not just travel through it, but control it. Secretary of Defense Williams leaned forward. Control time? What does that mean? It means we can make time move slower or faster in small areas of space, Yang explained. We can even stop time completely within a limited zone. President Martinez felt his mouth go dry. You are talking about science. Fiction? No, sir, Yang replied. I am talking about science fact. The eternal moment can create what we call a temporal field. Inside this field, time moves at whatever speed we choose. Outside the field, time moves normally. Admiral Choi took over the explanation. Imagine a battle where enemy ships are frozen. In time, while our forces move freely, imagine being able to slow down enemy weapons while speeding up our own. The possibilities are endless. Dr. Yang brought up new images. These showed test results from experiments conducted in empty space. We have tested this technology for 15 years. We can stop time in an area up to 1 million kilometers across. We can keep the field active for up to 24 hours. General Roberts whistled softly. With that kind of power, we could defeat any fleet in the galaxy. Yes, Admiral Choi said. But more importantly, we could do it without killing anyone. We can simply freeze enemy ships in time until they agree to surrender. President Martinez was quiet for a long moment. He was thinking about the weight of this decision. If they used this weapon, it would change everything. Humanity would go from being the weakest species in the galaxy to being the strongest. Who else knows about this? The president asked. In this room, plus the crew of the Eternal Moment and a few key engineers, Admiral Choi replied. Less than 300 people total. And you are sure it works? Dr. Yang nodded. We have run thousands of tests. The technology is proven and ready. Fleet Commander Ryu Min-ho spoke for the first time. He was the captain chosen to command the Eternal Moment. Sir, I have spent the last 5 years learning this ship. It is more than just a weapon. It is a completely new kind of warfare. Explain, President Martinez said. Traditional space battles are about who has more ships or bigger guns, Ryu said. But the eternal moment does not fight traditional battles. It controls the flow of time itself. Enemy weapons cannot hit us if they are frozen in time. Enemy ships cannot move if they are trapped in a temporal field. Admiral Choi activated another hologram. This one showed the eternal moment in action. Enemy ships appeared around it, firing weapons. But the weapons moved so slowly they looked like they were standing still. Meanwhile, the human ship moved. Normally. The enemy sees their weapons freeze in space, Admiral Choi explained. They see their ship stop moving. They realize they are completely helpless. At that point, most enemies choose to surrender rather than stay frozen forever. Secretary Williams shook his head in amazement. How did we develop this technology so quickly? Humans have only been in space for 100 years. Most alien species have been traveling between stars for thousands of years. Dr. Yang smiled. That is exactly why we succeeded. The aliens have been using the same technology for centuries. They stopped trying to improve it. They became comfortable with what they had. But humans never stop asking questions, Yang continued. We never accept that something cannot be done better. While the aliens used their old hyperdrives, we kept experimenting. We kept pushing the limits. The breakthrough came when we realized that space and time are connected, Yang explained. If you can bend space to travel faster than light, you can also bend time to travel through it differently. General Roberts looked worried. If we reveal this technology, every alien species will want it. They might unite against us to take it by force. Admiral Choi nodded. That is a risk, but keeping it secret is also a risk. If the aliens force humanity into slavery, we will never get a chance to use our advantage. President Martinez stood up and walked around the room. He was thinking about 40 billion human lives scattered across 50 worlds. He was thinking about children who would grow up as slaves if he made the wrong choice. How long would it take to build more ships like this? He asked. With our current resources, about 5 years per ship, Dr. Yang replied. But if we reveal the technology, we could build a dozen ships in the same time. And if we use the eternal moment against the alien fleets? Fleet Commander Ryu answered this question. Sir, we could disable their entire combined fleet without destroying a single ship. We could prove our power without starting a war, Admiral Choi added. The aliens respect strength above all else. If we show them that we are stronger than they thought, they will treat us as equals instead of trying to control us. President Martinez stopped walking. He looked at each person in the room. These were the people who would help him make this most important decision in human history. What about the moral questions? He asked. Are we right to hide this technology from our allies? Are we right to threaten other species with it? Dr. Yang considered this carefully before answering. Sir, we are not threatening anyone. We are protecting ourselves. The aliens want to take away our freedom because they think we are weak. Showing them our strength might prevent a war instead of starting one. And we have been developing this technology to protect human colonies, Admiral Choi added. The aliens have already taken 3 of our worlds. They have made thousands of our people disappear. We have the right to defend ourselves. Secretary Williams raised another concern. What if other species have similar secret weapons? What if we reveal our advantage and they reveal something even more powerful? Fleet Commander Ryu had thought about this too. Sir, we have been monitoring alien technology for decades. Their science has not advanced significantly in centuries. They rely on old, proven methods. Our intelligence suggests that no other species has been experimenting with temporal manipulation. President Martinez sat down again. The weight of decision was enormous. If he chose wrong, humanity might become slaves to alien masters. If he chose right, humanity might become the most powerful species in the galaxy. How certain are you that this will work? He asked Admiral Choi. Sir, the technology works perfectly. We have tested it many times. The only question is whether the aliens will accept our new position in the galaxy or try to fight us for it. Dr. Yang spoke up again. Mr. President, there is something else you should know. The temporal technology has other uses besides weapons. We can use it to speed up construction projects, to slow down dangerous processes, to help with scientific research. This technology could benefit all species if they are willing to work with us. You mean we could share it? Eventually, yes. But only with species that treat us as equals. We cannot give this power to species that want to enslave us. President Martinez looked around the room one more time. These people had spent decades working in secret to protect humanity. They had created something that could change the balance of power in the entire galaxy. "Admiral Choi," he said finally, "prepare the eternal moment for deployment. If the aliens want to see what humanity is capable of, we will show them." Admiral Choi smiled. For the first time in weeks, she felt hopeful. "Yes, sir. How much force are you authorizing?" "Whatever it takes to protect human freedom," President Martinez replied. "But try to avoid killing anyone if possible. We want to be seen as protectors, not destroyers." "Understood, sir." Dr. Yang gathered her technical files. "I will prepare detailed reports on the temporal technology. If we need to explain how it works, we should be ready." Fleet Commander Rai. Ambassador Kim Tai-ho stood before the Galactic Council for what might be the last time as a free human representative. The massive chamber felt colder than usual. Alien faces stared down at him from every direction. Their eyes showed no mercy, no understanding, only cold determination. Chancellor Mordex rose from his throne-like seat, his 4 eyes focused on Tai-ho like a predator watching prey. "Human Ambassador, your 72 hours are almost over. What is your government's answer to our generous offer?" Tai-ho felt sweat on his forehead, but he kept his voice steady. "Chancellor, my government needs more time to consider such an important decision. We are talking about the future of an entire species." "Time." Mordex laughed, and the sound echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. "Time is what you have wasted, human. Your species has had 100 years to prove it could behave responsibly. Instead, you have spread across the galaxy like a virus." Ambassador Cathara, the tree-like being, spoke up. "The decision is simple, human. Accept our protection or face the consequences of your stubbornness." "What consequences?" Tai-ho asked, though he feared the answer. Mordex activated a holographic display. It showed star maps of human space. Red markers appeared over every human colony and outpost. "These are the locations of your people. All of them are now surrounded by our peacekeeping fleets." Tai-ho's heart pounded. "You have invaded human space?" "We have positioned peacekeeping forces to maintain order," Mordex corrected. "When you accept our protection, these forces will help manage your colonies properly." Another alien spoke up. This one looked like a giant insect, with crystal wings. "Your people cannot be trusted to govern themselves. You need wise guidance from older, more experienced species." Tai-ho wanted to argue, but he knew it would be useless. The decision had already been made. This meeting was just for show. "I need to contact my government," Tai-ho said. "Of course," Mordex replied with false kindness. "You have 12 more hours. Then we will begin the peaceful transition whether you agree or not." Deep in space, Lieutenant Oh Seo-jun worked at his monitoring station aboard the stealth ship Silent Runner. His job was to intercept alien communications and report back to Earth. What he had discovered in the last few hours made his blood run cold. "Captain Naji Hai," he called to his commanding officer. "You need to hear this." Captain Na was a small woman with sharp eyes and a quick mind. She had been running intelligence operations for 10 years. "What do you have, Seo-jun?" I intercepted. "A coded message between the Veltran fleet and the Zephyrian command. They are planning something big." Najihai put on her headphones and listened to the translated message. Her face grew pale as she heard the alien voices. "Are you certain this translation is correct?" she asked. "I had the computer check it 3 times, Seo-jun replied. "The aliens plan to arrest all human leaders during the surrender ceremony. They call it Operation Clean Slate." Najihai felt sick. "Read me the exact words." Seo-jun pulled up the translation on his screen. Quote, "Once the human leaders gather for the surrender ceremony, we will arrest them as war criminals. The charges will include illegal expansion, resource theft, and crimes against galactic peace. This will justify our complete takeover of human space." End quote. "War criminals?" Najihaye shook her head in disbelief. "For what crimes?" "According to their files, they plan to charge humans with stealing planets that belong to other species. They will claim that every human colony was built on land that was already claimed by aliens." Najihai studied the intelligence reports spread across her desk. "What else did you find?" "There is more, Captain. Much worse." Seo-jun brought up another file. They have detailed plans for what they call human management after the takeover. The plans were horrifying. Humans would be moved to special reservation worlds. Human children would be raised by alien foster families to civilize them. Human technology would be confiscated. Humans would only be allowed to work in jobs approved by alien supervisors, but the worst part was the final goal. The aliens planned to turn Earth into a living museum. Humans would be kept like animals in a zoo, preserved as an example of a primitive species for alien tourists to study. They do not see us as people, Naji Hai said quietly. They see us as interesting pets. Seo Jun nodded. The Veltron Chancellor even mentions building viewing platforms around Earth so alien visitors can watch humans in their natural habitat. Naji Hai immediately opened a secure communication channel to Earth. Admiral Choi Soo-min appeared on the screen within seconds. "Admiral, we have a problem," Naji Hai said. She quickly explained what they had discovered. Admiral Choi listened without interrupting. When Naji Hai finished, the Admiral was quiet for a long moment. "How reliable is this intelligence, Admiral?" Choi asked. "Very reliable, sir. We intercepted multiple communications from different alien fleets. They all confirm the same plan." Admiral Choi's face showed no emotion, but her eyes were like ice. "Send me everything you have. We need to act. Quickly." Meanwhile, Captain Park Jin-woo was investigating the third missing colony at Wolf 1061C. What he found there was even worse than at Kepler 438b. The Zephyrians had not just taken the colony, they had completely destroyed it. Where the human city once stood, there was only empty ground. The aliens had used powerful weapons to erase every trace of human presence. Even the foundations of buildings were gone. "Captain," his science officer reported, "I am detecting unusual energy readings from the planet's surface." "What kind of energy?" "It looks like some kind of sterilization beam. The aliens did not just destroy the buildings. They sterilized the entire area to remove any trace of human DNA." Jin-woo felt rage building inside him. 40,000 humans had lived on this world. Families with children, scientists and farmers and teachers. Now they were all gone, erased as if they had never existed. "Any sign of survivors?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. "No, sir. No human life signs anywhere on the planet. No human technology. No human graves. Nothing." Jin-woo's communications officer looked up from her station. "Captain, I am receiving a message from the Zephyrian fleet." "Put it through." The same blue-green alien face appeared on screen. Its black eyes showed no emotion. "Human vessel, you are trespassing in Zephyrian space. This system has been claimed by our republic for over 2,000 years. "That is a lie," Jin-woo replied. "This system was empty when humans first arrived. We have legal documentation from the Galactic Council." The Zephyrian made that bubbling sound again. "Your documentation is false. Humans are known to forge legal papers. We have proof that this system belongs to us. Show me this proof. We do not have to prove anything to a primitive species. Leave now, or face the consequences." Jin-woo cut the communication. He turned to his crew. "They are rewriting history. They are claiming that human colonies were always illegal." His first officer, a young woman named Lee Mina, shook her head in disbelief. "How can they do that? There are witnesses. There are records." "They control the Galactic Council now," Jin-woo explained. "They can say whatever they want. Who is going to argue with them?" Back on Earth, Admiral Choi called an emergency meeting with President Martinez. They met in the same secret room where they had discussed the eternal moment. "Mr. President, the situation is worse than we thought," Admiral Choi began. She explained the intelligence reports from Captain Naji Hai. President Martinez listened with growing horror. "They plan to turn us into zoo animals?" "Yes, sir. And they plan to arrest our leaders as war criminals during the surrender ceremony. It is a trap designed to justify their complete takeover of human space." President Martinez stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the lights of the city. Millions of people going about their daily lives, not knowing that their freedom was about to be taken away. "What about our other colonies?" he asked. "We have lost contact with 6 more worlds in the last 12 hours. Admiral Choi reported. "The aliens are moving faster than we expected. They are not waiting for the surrender ceremony to begin their takeover." "And our fleet?" "Our regular fleet cannot fight the combined alien forces. They outnumber us 50-1. Our only hope is the eternal moment." President Martinez turned back to face Admiral Choi. "Are you certain it will work?" "Sir, the technology is proven. But we have never used it in a real combat situation. There are always risks." President Martinez thought about his choices. If he surrendered, humanity would become slaves. If he fought with conventional weapons, humanity would be destroyed. The eternal moment was the only chance they had. "Admiral, I am authorizing Operation Temporal Aegis. Deploy the eternal moment immediately." "Yes, sir. Where should we position it?" "The aliens want a surrender ceremony. Let us give them one they will never forget." Admiral Choi smiled grimly. "I understand, sir. We will accept their invitation to surrender, but we will bring an unexpected guest to the party." As Admiral Choi left to prepare the eternal moment, President Martinez made one more decision. He opened a secure channel to Ambassador Tae-ho at the Galactic Council. "Ambassador, this is President Martinez. I have new instructions for you." Tae-ho appeared on screen. He looked tired and worried. "Mr. President, the aliens are demanding an answer in 12 hours. What should I tell them?" "Tell them that humanity accepts their invitation to discuss." Nexus Station floated in the empty space between two star systems. The massive structure was the size of a small moon. Its crystal walls sparkled with lights from thousands of different alien technologies. For over 3,000 years it had been the center of galactic government and trade. Today it would become the center of the most important confrontation in galactic history. Chancellor Mordek stood on the command bridge of his flagship, the Inevitable Victory. Through the huge windows, he could see the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. Over 2,000 warships from 12 different species surrounded Nexus Station. The sight filled him with pride and confidence. "Report on fleet positions," Mordex ordered. His tactical officer, a young Veltran named Zekthor, consulted his displays. "All fleets are in position, Chancellor. The Zephyrian 4th Fleet holds the northern approach. The Andromedan battle group controls the eastern sector. The Crystalline Confederacy has positioned their dreadnoughts on the southern perimeter." Mordex nodded with satisfaction. "And the humans? Our sensors detect a small human fleet approaching from the inner systems. 12 vessels total. Nothing that poses any threat to our forces." 12 ships? Mordex laughed. "I expected at least 100. Are the humans so weak that they cannot even make a proper show of force?" Commander Veltana, Mordex's second in command, studied the sensor readings. "Chancellor, one of the human ships is much larger than the others. Our computers cannot identify its class. Show me." The main screen displayed the approaching human fleet. 11 ships looked like standard human designs, frigates and cruisers that the aliens had seen many times before. But the 12th ship was different. It was enormous, dwarfing even the largest alien dreadnoughts. "What is that thing?" Mordex asked. "Unknown, Chancellor. It does not match any ship design in our databases. The hull configuration is unlike anything we have seen before." Mordex studied the strange ship. It was 15 kilometers long and covered with odd-looking equipment. Strange energy patterns seemed to flow across its surface like liquid light. "Weapons analysis," Mordex ordered. Zekthor worked at his console for several minutes. "Chancellor, this is strange. Our sensors can identify the ship's size and basic structure, but we cannot detect any conventional weapons. No plasma cannons, no missile tubes, no energy projectors." "No weapons? How is that possible?" "I do not know, sir. Either the ship is unarmed, or it carries weapons we cannot recognize." Commander Veltana looked worried. "Chancellor, should we be concerned about this unknown vessel?" Mordex waved his hand dismissively. "One ship against 2,000? Even if it carries secret weapons, what could it possibly do? The humans are probably trying to impress us with size, since they cannot impress us with numbers." Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship Eternal Moment, Fleet Commander Ryu Min-ho sat in the captain's chair and watched the alien fleet grow larger on his screens. He had dreamed of this moment for 5 years. Finally, humanity would show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. Status report, Ryu ordered. Lieutenant Commander Bae-dong-hyun consulted his tactical displays. All systems are operating normally, sir. The temporal field generators are charged and ready. Our escort fleet is maintaining formation. Any response from the aliens? They are scanning us continuously, but they do not seem concerned. I think they believe we are just another big ship. Ryu smiled. Let them think that. The bigger the surprise, the better. Master Tactician Shin Yoonbi approached Ryu's chair. She was the ship's expert on battle strategy. Sir, our escort ships are moving into position according to the plan. When we activate the temporal field, they will be positioned to maximize coverage area. How much of the alien fleet will be affected? At current positions, approximately 80% of their ships will be caught in the field. The remaining 20% are too far away, but they will be too few to pose any real threat. Chief Science Officer Dr. Park Hyo-jin looked up from her station. Commander, I am detecting massive energy buildups throughout the alien fleet. They are charging their weapons. Are they planning to attack before the ceremony? I do not think so, sir. It looks like they are just making sure their weapons are ready in case we try something unexpected. Ryu nodded. They are being cautious. Good. Cautious enemies make fewer mistakes. On Nexus Station, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho waited in the main ceremony hall. The huge room could hold thousands of beings. Today, it was filled with representatives from every major species in the galaxy. They had all come to witness humanity's surrender. Tae-ho felt sick to his stomach. He knew what was really going to happen, but he had to play his part perfectly. Any sign that he knew about Operation Temporal Aegis could ruin everything. Chancellor Mordex entered the hall with great ceremony. He was followed by dozens of other alien leaders. They all looked pleased with themselves, like hunters who had cornered their prey. Ambassador Tae-ho, Mordex said as he approached, I trust your government has made the wise choice? We are here to discuss terms, Tae-ho replied carefully. My government wants to avoid any unnecessary conflict. Excellent. And your fleet commander? When will he arrive to formally surrender? Fleet Commander Ryu should be here within the hour. He brings the official documents from Earth. Mordex nodded with satisfaction. Good. Once your military leaders are here, we can begin the transition to proper galactic management of human affairs. Tae-ho said nothing, but he thought, you have no idea what is really about to begin. Aboard the Eternal Moment, the crew made final preparations. Chief Weapons Officer Kang Soo-jin ran diagnostics on the temporal field generators. These were the most complex machines ever built by human science. They could bend space and time itself to humanity's will. Generator status? Commander Ryu asked. All generators showing green, sir. Temporal field can be activated at any time. Containment systems? Lieutenant Im Woo-sok answered from his station. Containment field is stable and ready. Once we activate the temporal field, we can maintain it for up to 24 hours. Communication systems? All channels are open, sir. We can broadcast to every ship in the system when you give the order. Ryu took a deep breath. Everything they had worked for came down to the next few hours. If the plan succeeded, humanity would gain respect as a major galactic power. If it failed, humanity might face extinction. Open a channel to Admiral Choi on Earth, Ryu ordered. Admiral Choi's face appeared on the main screen. Behind her, Ryu could see the secret command center where Earth's leaders waited for news. Admiral, we are in position. The alien fleet is exactly where we expected. We are ready to begin Operation Temporal Aegis. Understood, Commander. You have full authorization to proceed. Show them what humanity can do. The communication ended. Ryu turned to face his crew. These were the best people in the human fleet. They had trained for this moment for years. Attention, all hands, Ryu announced over the ship's communication system. This is the commander. In a few minutes, we will make history. Today, humanity stops being the weak species that everyone can push around. Today, we become equals in this galaxy. Throughout the ship, hundreds of crew members prepared for action. They had all volunteered for this mission, knowing it might be the most dangerous thing they would ever do. But they also knew it might be the most important. Back on the alien flagship, Chancellor Mordex received a report that made him smile. Chancellor, Zekthor announced, The human fleet commander is requesting permission to approach Nexus Station. Grant permission. But keep our weapons locked on their ships. I do not trust humans even when they surrender. Yes, sir. Sir, there is something else. The large human ship is asking for a specific docking position. What position? They want to dock at the central hub directly between our three largest battle groups. Mordex found this amusing. The humans want to surrender in the most visible location possible. How fitting. Grant their request. Commander Veltana looked concerned. Chancellor, is it wise to let them position their largest ship in the center of our formation? Why not? What can one ship do against 2,000? Besides, having them in the center will make it easier to capture their leaders when the time comes. Mordex did not realize that he had just made the biggest tactical mistake of his long military career. By allowing the eternal moment to position itself in the center of the alien fleet, he had given humanity the perfect opportunity to show their true power. As the massive human ship moved toward its assigned position, alien sensors continued to scan it without finding any conventional weapons. The aliens remained convinced that they faced a desperate species trying to make a final gesture of defiance. They could not have been more wrong. Fleet Commander Ryu watched the alien ships surround his vessel. Soon they would be close enough for the temporal field to affect all of them at once. The most powerful fleet in galactic history was about to become completely helpless. Distance to optimal field position? Ryu asked. 15 minutes at current speed, Shin Yunbi reported. Alien fleet positions? They are forming exactly the pattern we predicted. Our intelligence was perfect. Ryu nodded. Years of careful observation and planning were about to pay off. Humanity had studied alien tactics for decades. They knew exactly how alien commanders thought and how they would position their fleets. All stations, Fleet Commander Ryu Min-ho sat in the captain's chair of the Eternal Moment and watched the alien fleet complete its formation around his ship. 2,000 enemy vessels surrounded him like a metal forest. Each ship bristled with weapons that could destroy planets. Together, they represented the combined military might of 12 different species. In 5 minutes, all of that power would become meaningless. Final systems check, Ryu ordered. Chief Weapons Officer Kong Soo-jin called out readings from her station. Temporal field generators at 100%. Containment systems are stable. Energy reserves are at maximum. Communication arrays? All frequencies are clear and ready, sir, reported Communications Officer Lee Jae-sung. We can broadcast to every ship in the system simultaneously. Escort fleet positions? Master Tactician Shin Yun-bi studied her tactical display. All escort ships are in perfect position. The temporal field will cover 92% of the enemy fleet when we activate it. Ryu nodded. Everything was ready. 5 years of preparation had led to this moment. Open a channel to Ambassador Tae-ho, Ryu ordered. On Nexus Station, Ambassador. Kim Tae-ho received the coded message on his personal communication device. The message was simple. Final authorization request. Ready to proceed on your command. Tae-ho looked around the ceremony hall. Hundreds of alien leaders filled the room, all waiting to watch humanity surrender. Chancellor Mordex sat on a raised platform like a king watching his subjects. The alien faces showed smug satisfaction and barely hidden contempt. They had no idea what was about to happen. Tae-ho activated his communicator and sent back a single word. Authorized. Aboard the Eternal. Moment. Ryu received the message. He stood up from his captain's chair and looked around the bridge. His crew was ready. They had trained for this moment countless times. Now it was real. Attention all hands, Ryu announced over the ship's communication system. This is the commander. We are about to make history. In 60 seconds, we will show this galaxy that humanity will never bow to tyrants. Stand ready. Throughout the massive ship, hundreds of crew members prepared for the most important moment of their lives. In the engineering sections, technicians monitored the temporal field generators. In the tactical centers, officers tracked the positions of every enemy ship. In the medical bays, doctors stood ready to treat any crew members who might be affected by the temporal field. Everyone knew that they were about to change the course of galactic history. 50 seconds to activation, announced Lieutenant Im Woo-shok from his station. On the main screen, Ryu could see the alien flagship Inevitable Victory floating just 2 kilometers away. Through its transparent bridge windows, he could see Chancellor Mordex and his officers. They were probably discussing how to divide up human territory after the surrender. 40 seconds. Dr. Park Hyo-jin monitored the readings from her science station. Sir, the temporal field will require enormous amounts of energy. Are you sure our power systems can handle it? We have tested this many times, Doctor. The ship was built specifically for this purpose. 30 seconds. Ryu opened a communication channel to the entire human fleet. All ships, this is Commander Ryu. In 30 seconds, we will activate the temporal field. Remember your training, stay calm, and follow procedures. History will remember this day. 20 seconds. Chief Weapons Officer Kang Soo-jin placed her hand on the activation control. The temporal field generators hummed with barely contained energy. Space itself seemed to vibrate around the eternal moment. 10 seconds. Ryu took a deep breath. For humanity. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Activate! Kang Soo-jin pressed the activation control. The effect was immediate and stunning. The hull of the eternal moment began to glow with an otherworldly light. Energy patterns flowed across its surface, like liquid fire. The space around the ship shimmered and twisted as reality itself bent to humanity's will. The temporal field expanded outward from the eternal moment, like a sphere of distorted light. It moved at the speed of light itself, covering the entire alien fleet in less than 2 seconds, and then time stopped. The first sign was the alien weapons. Hundreds of plasma bolts and energy beams that had been fired at the human ship suddenly froze in space. They hung motionless like deadly sculptures, their deadly energy trapped between one moment and the next. Then the alien ships themselves stopped moving. Vessels that had been turning to bring more weapons to bear on the eternal moment suddenly became as still as statues. Their engines continued to burn, but the ships no longer moved forward. They existed in a single frozen instant. On the bridge of the Inevitable Victory, Chancellor Mordex stood with his mouth open in shock. His 4 eyes were fixed on the impossible sight before him. His tactical officer Zekthor was frozen in the middle of reaching for his weapon controls. Commander Veltana was trapped halfway through, turning toward the communications console. They could see and hear everything that was happening, but they could not move, they could not speak, they could not even blink. Time had stopped for them. But their consciousness remained active, forced to watch helplessly as their mighty fleet became completely powerless. Throughout the alien fleet, the same scene repeated on every ship. Thousands of alien warriors found themselves frozen in place, unable to move or react. Their weapons were useless. Their shields meant nothing. Their numerical advantage had vanished in an instant. Only the human ships remained free to move within the temporal field. They glided through the frozen alien fleet, like ghosts moving through a graveyard. Field activation successful, reported Kang Soo-jin. All enemy vessels are caught in the temporal distortion. They are completely immobilized. Excellent, Rao replied. Begin Phase 2. Lieutenant Im Woo-seok coordinated the next part of the operation. All escort ships, begin systematic disabling procedures. Target engines and weapon systems only. No crew areas. The human escort fleet moved through the alien formation with perfect precision. They had practiced this maneuver hundreds of times in simulations. Now they executed it flawlessly in reality. Human ships approached each alien vessel and deployed specially designed devices. These devices attached to alien engine cores and weapon systems. They were not bombs. They were sophisticated pieces of technology that would permanently disable the alien ships without harming their crews. The process took 12 hours. The humans worked methodically through the entire alien fleet. 2,000 warships were systematically neutralized. When the temporal field was finally released, the alien fleet would be completely helpless. Sir, reported Chief Science Officer Dr. Park Hyo-jin, we are detecting some interesting effects from the temporal field. The aliens inside the field can observe everything that is happening, but they experience it very differently than we do. How so? Time is moving so slowly for them that our 12 hours of work appears to take only a few seconds from their perspective. To them, we are moving impossibly fast. Ryu found this amusing. So they can see us disabling their fleet, but they cannot do anything to stop it? Exactly, sir. They are forced to watch their entire military advantage disappear before their eyes. As the human ships continued their work, Communications Officer Lee Jae-sung monitored alien frequencies. Sir, I am detecting some interesting transmissions from inside the temporal field. The aliens are trying to communicate with each other, but their signals are extremely slow. Can you translate their messages? Working on it now, sir. Lee Jae-sung worked at his console for several minutes. Sir, the messages are mostly expressions of shock and disbelief. Chancellor Mordex is trying to order his fleet to attack us, but his orders are taking hours to transmit because of the time distortion. What about their homeworlds? Are they trying to call for help? Yes, sir, but those messages will take days to reach their destinations because of the temporal effects. By the time their governments receive the calls for help, this will all be over. Master Tactician Shin Yun-bi studied the tactical situation. Sir, this is working even better than we hoped. The aliens are completely helpless. They cannot fight back, they cannot escape, and they cannot call for reinforcements. Any signs that other alien fleets are approaching? No, sir. As far as our sensors can detect, this is the entire combined alien fleet. They brought everything they had to intimidate us. Ryu smiled grimly. Instead, they brought everything they had to lose. After 12 hours of work, Lieutenant Im Woo-seok reported that the mission was complete. Sir, all alien vessels have been neutralized. Their engines are disabled, their weapons are offline, and their communication systems are jammed. When we release the temporal field, they will be completely powerless. Excellent work, Ryu replied. Prepare to broadcast our message. Communications Officer Lee Jae-sung opened channels to every frequency in the galaxy. Sir, we are ready. To transmit, begin broadcast. The message went out simultaneously to every world in the galaxy. It reached alien homeworlds, human colonies, space stations, and exploration vessels. Everyone in known space received the same transmission at the same time. This is Fleet Commander Ryu Min-ho of the Human Defense Fleet, the message began. What you are witnessing is the result of human temporal manipulation technology. The alien fleet that came here to force humanity into slavery has been completely neutralized without the loss of ASE. The silence in space was complete. 2,000 alien warships floated helplessly around Nexus Station, their engines dark and their weapons dead. The most powerful fleet in galactic history had become a graveyard of disabled metal hulks only. The human ships moved freely through the cosmic debris field that had once been an unstoppable armada. Fleet Commander Ryu Min-ho stood on the bridge of the Eternal Moment and watched alien crews trying desperately to restart their ships. Through the transparent windows of nearby vessels, he could see alien officers frantically working at control panels that no longer responded to their commands. Sir, reported Communications Officer Lee Jae-sung, we are receiving hundreds of messages from the disabled alien ships. Most are demands to know what we did to them. Some are requests for help restarting their systems. Any surrender offers? Ryu asked. Not yet, sir. I think they are still in shock. Master Tactician Shin Yun-bi studied the tactical displays. Sir, our escort fleet reports that all alien vessels are completely neutralized. They pose no threat to anyone. However, their life support systems are still working normally. Good. We disabled their ability to fight, not their ability to live. We are protectors, not murderers. Dr. Park Hyo-jin looked up from her science station. Sir, I am detecting incoming hyperspace signatures, multiple ships approaching from different directions. Ryu felt a moment of concern. Alien reinforcements? I do not think so, sir. The energy signatures are too diverse. It looks like ships from many different species, but not military vessels. I think word of what happened here is spreading. She was right. Across the galaxy, the news of humanity's demonstration was creating shockwaves. Alien governments that had remained neutral were sending observers to see the results for themselves. News ships from a dozen different species were racing to report on the most important event in recent galactic history. The age of alien military supremacy was over, and everyone wanted to see what would replace it. On Nexus Station, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho walked through corridors filled with confused and frightened alien diplomats. Word of the fleet's defeat had reached the station quickly. The alien leaders who had come to watch humanity's surrender were now trying to understand how their own forces had been so completely defeated. Tae-ho entered the main ceremony hall where Chancellor Mordex had planned to accept humanity's surrender. The huge room was nearly empty now. Most of the alien representatives had left to contact their home governments. Only Chancellor Mordex remained, sitting alone on his raised platform. The proud Veltran leader looked like he had aged 10 years in the last few hours. His 4 eyes stared blankly at the empty hall. "Chancellor," Tae-ho said as he approached, "I believe we need to discuss new terms." Mordex looked up at the human ambassador. For the first time, there was no contempt in his eyes, only fear and confusion. "How?" Mordex asked. "How did you do this? Your species has only been in space for 100 years. We have ruled the galaxy for thousands of years." Tae-ho sat down in a chair near the platform. "That is exactly why we succeeded, Chancellor. You have been using the same technology for so long that you stopped trying to improve it. Humans never stop asking if there is a better way. But temporal manipulation, that is beyond anything we thought possible. For you, perhaps. But humans have always been good at finding new solutions to old problems." Tae-ho paused. "The question now is, what happens next?" Mordex was quiet for a long moment. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing complicated. We want to be treated as equals. We want our colonies to be respected. We want to share our technology with species that are willing to work with us as partners. And if we refuse?" Tae-ho gestured toward the windows that showed the disabled alien fleet. "Then you remain as you are now, helpless, your choice." Meanwhile, aboard the Eternal Moment, Fleet Commander Ryu was preparing for the next phase of humanity's plan. Admiral Choi Soo-min appeared on the main screen from Earth. "Commander, congratulations. The demonstration was perfect. No casualties, and the entire galaxy knows about our capabilities." "Thank you, Admiral. What are your orders for the alien fleet?" "We are going to make them an offer they cannot refuse. Open a communication channel to all the disabled ships simultaneously. Communications." Officer Lee Jae-sung worked at his station. "Channel open, sir. Every ship in the alien fleet can hear us." Admiral Choi's image appeared on screens throughout the alien fleet. Her voice was calm but firm. "This is Admiral Choi Soo-min of the Human Defense Fleet. Your ships have been disabled, but your crews are unharmed. This was a demonstration, not an act of war," she continued. "Humanity offers you a choice. We can restore power to your ships and allow you to return home. In exchange, your governments must agree to treat humanity as an equal member of the galactic community. Alternatively, you can remain disabled until your governments decide to negotiate in good faith. Your life support systems will continue to function, but your ships will remain powerless. The choice is yours." The response was immediate. Throughout the alien fleet, communications officers began transmitting urgent messages to their home worlds. Governments that had been planning to divide up human territory suddenly found themselves begging for their fleets to be released. The shift in power was complete and undeniable. Over the next several hours, alien governments began sending formal responses. The first to respond was the Crystalline Confederacy. Their ambassador arrived at Nexus Station within 3 hours. Ambassador Valkyra was a being made of living crystal that sparkled with inner light. She met with Ambassador Tae-ho in the same hall where humanity's surrender was supposed to have taken place. "Ambassador Tae-ho," Valkyra said, her voice sounding like wind chimes. "The Crystalline Confederacy wishes to apologize for our participation in this misunderstanding. We would like to discuss a new relationship with humanity." "What kind of relationship?" Tae-ho asked. "A partnership. We have much to offer each other. Your temporal technology could help our people in ways we never imagined. In return, we offer our knowledge of crystal-based energy systems." Tae-ho nodded. "That sounds reasonable. But first, your fleet must withdraw from all human space immediately." "Of course. Our ships will leave human territory as soon as their engines are restored." Similar conversations took place throughout the day. One by one, alien species began negotiating new agreements with humanity. The Andromedans offered to share their advanced medical technology. The Aquarians proposed joint exploration missions. Even the Zephyrians, who had stolen human colonies, agreed to return all captured territory. By the end of the day, 8 of the 12 species had agreed to new partnership treaties with humanity. But 4 species remained defiant. Chancellor Mordex and the Veltron Empire refused to negotiate. So did the hegemony of Krex, the dominion of Thule, and the savage clans of Morgoth. Their representatives declared that they would never treat humans as equals. Fleet Commander Ryu received Admiral Choi's orders regarding the defiant species. Commander, the 4 species that refuse to negotiate will remain disabled. Their ships will be towed to a secure location where they can think about their decision. Understood, Admiral. How long do we leave them disabled? Until they change their minds. It could be days, weeks, or years. That is up to them. Captain Park Jin-woo, who had discovered the first missing human colony, was given the honor of delivering the final message to the defiant aliens. His ship, the New Soul, approached Chancellor Mordex's flagship. Chancellor Mordex, Jin-woo broadcast, your ship and the ships of your allies will be taken to a location far from any inhabited worlds. There you will remain until your governments agree to respect human rights. You cannot do this, Mordex replied. This is piracy. This is justice, Jin-woo corrected. You plan to make humanity your slaves. Instead, you will learn what it feels like to be powerless. The human fleet began the process of towing the disabled alien ships to a remote location in empty space. The journey would take several days, giving the alien crews time to think about their situation. Some of the alien ships chose to surrender during the journey. Their crews contacted the human fleet and agreed to negotiate. These ships were released and allowed to return home, but Chancellor Mordex and his closest allies remained defiant. They were taken to a barren system with no planets, no resources, and no way to contact their home worlds. There they would stay until they learned to respect other species. Back at Nexus Station, the Galactic Council was called into emergency session. The composition of the council had changed dramatically. Species that had supported humanity's enslavement found themselves isolated and outnumbered by species that wanted partnership with the powerful humans. Ambassador Taeho addressed the council from the same podium where he had been threatened just days before. But now, when he spoke, everyone listened. The demonstrations you have witnessed proved that humanity has become a major galactic power, Taeho began. But we do not want to rule over other species. We want to work with them. He continued. Human temporal technology can benefit all species. We can speed up construction projects, slow down dangerous processes, and help with scientific research that would normally take centuries. But, Taeho added firmly, we will only share this technology with species that treat us with respect. Species